The transition happened instantaneously, as all things did for Lucy now. One moment she existed across all points of time and space simultaneously, observing the cosmic ballet of evolution and entropy. The next moment, though, had ceased to have meaning for her. She detected an anomaly, a universe adjacent to her own, yet fundamentally different in its underlying structure. The Warhammer 40,000 galaxy. Lucy materialized in the depths of space near a world designated in Imperial records as Cadia, though this was before its fall. Her form was humanoid, a concession to the beings she would encounter, though she existed simultaneously as pure information, quantum probability, and condensed matter. At 100% brain capacity, she had transcended physical limitation entirely, becoming something closer to a fundamental force than a person. She observed the system with interest. The Imperium, what the locals called the warp, immediately drew her attention. It was a dimension where thought and emotion became tangible, where the collective psychic energies of sentient beings coalesced into entities of terrible power. The four Chaos gods, Khorne, Nurgle, Siench, and Slanesh. They were not unlike certain quantum phenomena she had observed, where consciousness and reality became entangled, but magnified to a galactic scale. Lucy could perceive the Astronomicon, the psychic lighthouse powered by the God Emperor of mankind, and the daily sacrifice of 1,000 psychers. She could see its light cutting through the warp, guiding human ships across vast distances. Primitive, she thought, but ingenious within its constraints. Her presence did not go unnoticed. On the bridge of the Righteous Fury, an Imperial Navy cruiser patrolling the Cadian sector, cogitator arrays suddenly screamed with impossible readings. Sensors detected a humanoid figure in hard vacuum, unprotected, radiating energy signatures that defied classification. "Captain," the sensor officer reported, his augmetic eye whirring as it processed the data. "Unknown contact. Human-sized, no ship, no void suit. Energy readings are beyond our measurement capacity." Captain Andronicus, a veteran of 3 Black Crusades, stood from his command throne. Astropaths, the ship's senior astropath, an elderly woman whose eye sockets wept blood from the strain of her duties, spoke in a trembling voice. "My lord, I sense everything and nothing. She is a void in the warp, yet also a blazing star. I cannot comprehend." Lucy allowed herself to be brought aboard. The tractor beams were ineffective. She simply chose to move in the direction they desired. She phased through the hull as easily as light through glass, materializing in the main hangar bay. 80 Imperial Guard soldiers, their lasguns raised, surrounded her. Their sergeant barked orders, but his voice was uncertain. What they saw was a young woman with dark hair, dressed in simple clothing, her eyes completely black as if filled with the void of space itself. "Identify yourself," the sergeant commanded. Lucy spoke, and her voice came from everywhere at once. From the Vox speakers, from the vibrations in the hull, from the very air molecules themselves. "I am Lucy. I am human. I evolved." Within hours, the Inquisition was notified. Inquisitor Matthias Covenant of the Ordo Malleus arrived via warp travel, his personal retinue in tow. He was a stern man, cybernetically enhanced, with 50 years of experience hunting daemons and eliminating threats to humanity. He had faced greater daemons, banished, possessed space marines, and purged entire worlds, but the reports he received troubled him in a way few things could. Lucy waited patiently in a containment cell, though she could have left at any time. She found their rituals interesting. The cell was inscribed with wards and hexagrammic seals designed to contain psychers and demonic entities. They did nothing to restrain her, as she operated on principles these people had not yet discovered. When Covenant entered, accompanied by his psyker, interrogator, and a space marine from the Grey Knights chapter, Lucy observed them with the same detachment a human might observe bacteria under a microscope. "I am Inquisitor Covenant," he announced, You will answer my questions. What are you? I told your soldiers. I am human, from a different iteration of Earth, approximately 38,000 years in your past, though temporal coordinates are relative to reference frames. The Grey Knight, brother, Captain Arvan, raised his nemesis force halberd. You speak in riddles. The taint of the warp is not upon you, yet you exist in violation of natural law. Are you a Citan shard, a weapon of the Necrons? Lucy tilted her head, accessing all information she could perceive about the entities he mentioned. The Citan, ancient star-consuming beings of pure energy who had transferred their consciousness into living metal bodies. The Necrons, their former servants, now autonomous following the Citan's shattering. No, she said simply, I am organic life that achieved complete neural utilization. At 100% brain capacity, I transcended physical limitations. I perceive time non-linearly, exist in multiple states simultaneously, and can manipulate matter and energy at the quantum level. The Inquisitor's psyche, a sanctioned witch named Ilara, gasped. She tells the truth, my lord. But it is a truth so alien. She is not of the warp, yet she is beyond our reality. Covenant studied Lucy carefully. The Emperor is the pinnacle of human evolution. There can be no other. Your Emperor, Lucy said, is a powerful psyche, perhaps the most powerful human psychic entity I have observed. But his power comes from the warp, from the Imperium. Mine comes from something else, from the complete utilization of human neurological potential, from understanding the fundamental code of the universe itself. Prove it, Covenant demanded. Demonstrate this power. Lucy considered. She reached out, not physically, but through the underlying quantum field that connected all matter. She perceived every atom in the room, every electron, every force carrier. With a thought, she reorganized them. The air between them shimmered. Lucy created, from nothing but the available atmospheric molecules and trace elements, a perfect replica of a bolt pistol. It materialized in midair and floated gently to the floor. Brother Captain Arvan picked it up, examined it. Emperor's mercy, he whispered. It is real, perfect in every detail. The molecular structure is identical to forge-blessed adamantium. Matter is just energy in a particular configuration, Lucy explained. I simply rearranged what was already here. But she wasn't finished. She turned her black eyes toward the Inquisitor. You have a tumor in your left lung. Early stage. Your augmetics haven't detected it yet. Covenant's expression didn't change, but Ilara saw his involuntary flinch. Medicae scan him. Now. The scan took 30 minutes. The results confirmed Lucy's statement precisely. You could remove it, Covenant asked, his voice carefully neutral. Yes. Why would you? Because you asked me to prove my capabilities. Because causing unnecessary harm serves no purpose. With permission granted, Lucy reached into Covenant's body at the cellular level. She identified every cancerous cell, understanding the exact mutation that had caused their abnormal growth. She reprogrammed their DNA, returning them to normal function. The entire process took 3 seconds. A second scan showed no trace of the tumor. Word reached Terra, the heart of the Imperium. The High Lords of Terra convened to discuss this anomaly. Was she a threat, an opportunity, a test from the God Emperor himself? Lucy was brought before them, escorted by an entire company of custodian guards, the Emperor's own elite. They were the finest warriors humanity had ever produced, each worth 100 space marines. Lucy could have vaporized them all with a thought, but violence held no interest for her. The council chamber was vast, filled with the most powerful individuals in the Imperium. Lord, Commander of the Imperium, Fabricator General of Mars, Grand Master of Assassins, Ecclesiarch of the Ministorum, and others. You claim to be human, the Ecclesiarch intoned, his voice dripping with skepticism. Yet you perform miracles. Only the God Emperor can perform such acts. I perform no miracles, Lucy replied. only applications of understood physical principles. Your emperor understands some of these principles as well. His abilities in the warp demonstrate sophisticated manipulation of psychic energy. Heresy. The ecclesiarch roared. The emperor is divine, but the fabricated general, a being more machine than man, spoke through his vox grill. She speaks of technology we cannot comprehend. The Omnissiah teaches that knowledge is sacred. Perhaps she represents a branch of human evolution we have not encountered. Lucy addressed them all. I can perceive the Emperor. He sits upon the golden throne, his body sustained by machinery, his consciousness split between maintaining the Astronomicon and fighting an eternal battle against the Chaos Gods in the warp. He is in agony. He has been for 10,000 years. Silence. Custodian Captain General Trajan Valoris, leader of the Emperor's bodyguards, spoke for the first time. You claim to perceive the Emperor himself, through the psychic wards and protections of the Imperial Palace, through defenses that have held for millennia. I do not perceive him through psychic means. I perceive the quantum information that comprises his existence, the energy state of his atoms, the electromagnetic fields of his neurons, the entanglement patterns of his consciousness with the warp. Lucy was given limited access to the Imperial Palace, under constant supervision. She observed the Imperium's workings with scientific interest. 10,000 worlds, quadrillions of humans, all bound together by faith, fear, and the grinding machinery of bureaucracy. It was inefficient, brutal, and stagnant, but it had survived for 10,000 years in a galaxy that wanted humanity extinct. She studied the threats, the Tyranids, an extragalactic hive mind consuming all biomass, the Orcs, a fungal species engineered for war, the Eldar, ancient and dying, the Tau, young and naive, the Necrons, waking from eons of sleep, and above all, Chaos, the eternal enemy, birthed from the dark emotions of sentient beings. The High Lords made their request. Can you save the Emperor? Can you repair his body? Free him from the Golden Throne? Lucy examined the situation carefully. The Emperor's body had been shattered by the traitor Horus 10 millennia ago. Only the Golden Throne kept him alive, and it was failing. But his consciousness was deeply entangled with the warp, battling the Chaos Gods, maintaining the Astronomicon. To remove him from the throne might save his body but doom the Imperium. I can restore his physical form, Lucy said, but if I do, the Astronomicon will fail. Your ships will be lost in the warp, your empire will fragment, millions of worlds will be isolated. Many will fall to Xenos, to chaos, to starvation. Then what can you offer us? Lord Commander demanded. Lucy considered. She had transcended her humanity, but she remembered being human. These people, for all their flaws, were fighting for survival against impossible odds. Their cruelty came from desperation, their faith from the need to find meaning in suffering. I can offer knowledge, she said finally. Not complete, you lack the technological and conceptual framework to utilize what I have, but I can give you pieces, improvements to your technology, understanding of physical principles that will enhance your weapons, your defenses, your ships. I can identify chaos corruption before it manifests, see Tyranid hive fleet movements through quantum probability analysis, predict org patterns. Why? Valoris asked. What do you gain? Nothing, Lucy admitted. At my level of existence, material concerns are meaningless. But I was human once. I remember caring about survival, about the continuation of my species. This version of humanity is not my timeline, but you are still human. Perhaps that's reason enough. An agreement was reached, though it took months of negotiation. Lucy would serve as an advisor to the Imperium, providing knowledge and assistance within certain parameters. She would not interfere with faith. The ecclesiarchy was too powerful, too important to imperial cohesion. She would not alter the emperor's state, too dangerous. She would work within the system, not replace it. In exchange, the Imperium would give her access to their data, their histories, their observations of the galaxy. She found this fair. Information was all that truly interested her now. Her first contributions were subtle but significant. For the Adeptus Mechanicus, she provided mathematical proofs that allowed them to improve plasma reactor efficiency by 3.7%. Small, but across thousands of ships and forge worlds, transformative. For the Imperial Navy, she calculated warp route probabilities with unprecedented accuracy, reducing ship losses by identifying dangerous currents in the immaterium. For the Astra Militarum, she created algorithms to optimize supply chain logistics, ensuring ammunition and rations reached frontline regiments with less waste. For the Inquisition, she could identify possessed individuals by detecting the quantum disruption pattern caused by demonic inhabitation, something no psychic scan could fool. But Lucy encountered something she did not expect: resistance from the universe itself. The Chaos Gods noticed her. In the warp, the four great powers observed this new element in the material realm. She was anathema to them, not because she opposed them with psychic might like the Emperor, but because her very nature was antithetical to chaos. She was order, pure, crystalline, mathematical order. Tiench, god of change and scheming, found her particularly fascinating and frustrating. He could not predict her actions because she existed partially outside causality. His infinite plots and counterplots couldn't account for an entity that perceived probability spaces rather than single timelines. The Chaos Gods began to move against her. They couldn't attack her directly. She had no presence in the warp for them to grasp. But they could attack those around her, possess her allies, create circumstances that forced her to make choices. On the world of Armageddon, a massive chaos incursion occurred. Millions of cultists, thousands of daemons, all converging on a single city where Lucy was consulting with the Imperial Guard. The attack was coordinated with inhuman precision. Tiench's doing. Lucy could have destroyed the entire Chaos Army with a thought. She could manipulate matter and energy on any scale. But the Psyker Lara, who had become something of a companion, warned her. If you act too directly, you become a threat the Imperium cannot accept. They will fear you more than they need you. You will become the enemy. Lucy understood. She had transcended humanity, but humans remained human. Fear of the unknown, the different, the powerful, these were evolutionary survival traits. If she became too overtly powerful, too alien, she would unite the Imperium against her. So, she fought with constraints. She armed Imperial soldiers with weapons assembled from battlefield debris, their molecular bonds strengthened to supernatural durability. She calculated artillery trajectories with perfect accuracy, whispering coordinates to gunnery crews. She identified chaos sorcerers by their quantum signatures and marked them for sniper teams. The battle was won, but at terrible cost. Tens of thousands died. Lucy could have prevented every death. But she chose not to, because doing so would have revealed the full scope of what she was. It troubled her, this rediscovery of limitation, not physical limitation, but social, political limitation. She had become infinite, but infinity constrained by context was just another form of boundary. Years passed, though Lucy experienced them non-sequentially, perceiving past, present, and future as a unified structure. She learned the true nature of the Warhammer 40,000 galaxy. It was dying. The Emperor was failing. The Golden Throne degraded further each year. The Great Rift had torn the galaxy in two, chaos energy spilling into reality. The Tyranids consumed more worlds. The Necrons awakened in greater numbers. Even Lucy's assistance could only delay the inevitable. She discussed this with Brother Captain Arvin, who had become her primary liaison with the Space Marines. The Grey Knight was one of the few individuals who could tolerate her presence without existential dread. "Can you not save us?" he asked, during a quiet moment between campaigns. "With your power, could you not destroy the Chaos Gods, eliminate the Tyranids, restore humanity to glory?" I could destroy the Chaos Gods, Lucy confirmed, by severing the connection between the warp and material reality. But doing so would kill every psyker in the galaxy instantly, including your Emperor, the astropaths who guide your ships, the sanctioned psykers who power your weapons. Humanity would be blind, deaf, and crippled. And the Tyranids. I could eliminate individual hive fleets by disrupting their synaptic connections at the quantum level. And even then, the hive mind might adapt. Evolution is resilient. Arvin was silent for a long time. Then, so even you cannot save us, not in the way you hope, Lucy admitted. I can delay. I can improve your odds. But I cannot eliminate the fundamental problems you face. This galaxy is hostile to life. It has been for billions of years. You survive not because you are strong, but because you are stubborn. The Grey Knight laughed, a rare sound. Perhaps stubbornness is humanity's greatest strength. Lucy remained with the Imperium for what they measured as 37 years. In that time, she made contributions that would ripple through Imperial history. But she also understood that her presence was becoming counterproductive. Cults had formed, worshipping her as a saint. The ecclesiarchy raged against this heresy. The Inquisition debated endlessly about whether she was holy or damned. Her very existence was creating schisms. Moreover, she was learning less. The Warhammer 40,000 galaxy had taught her about consciousness manifesting in alternate dimensions, about how belief could shape reality when channeled through the warp, about survival under extreme evolutionary pressure. But she had absorbed this knowledge. Remaining would yield diminishing returns. She appeared before the High Lords one final time. I am leaving, she announced. I have given you what I can. The rest is up to you. Where will you go? The Lord Commander asked. Everywhere, everywhen. I exist across multiple dimensions already. I will explore other realities, other configurations of physical law. I will continue to learn, to evolve, to understand. Custodian Captain, General Valorous spoke. Will you return if we need you? Lucy considered the question from all angles, examining probability trees, future timelines, causal chains. If you truly need me, and if I am able, I will consider it, but you should not wait for salvation from outside. You are human. You endure. That is what you do best. She left them then, her physical form dissolving into pure information, quantum probability, and the fundamental code of existence itself. She had entered the Warhammer 40,000 universe to learn about an alternate configuration of reality. She had found a humanity that survived through faith, fury, and refusal to surrender, even when all hope was lost. It was, in its own way, beautiful. In the depths of the Imperial Palace, in a chamber where only the custodians could enter, records were kept of Lucy's time with the Imperium. The knowledge she provided was studied, analyzed, implemented where possible. Some called her a saint. Others, a Xenos threat narrowly avoided. A few, the very wise or very cynical, recognized her for what she was. A reminder that humanity, for all its struggles, had once created something that transcended limitation entirely. And in the warp, the Chaos Gods remembered her, the ordered thing, the anathema to their nature, the entity that existed outside their schemes. They remembered, and they waited, because in the grim darkness of the far future, everything eventually returns. But Lucy was already gone, dispersed across dimensions, exploring realities where physics operated on entirely different principles, where time flowed backwards, where consciousness was the fundamental force rather than gravity or electromagnetism. She had been human once. She would never be human again. But she remembered, and in remembering, she ensured that one version of humanity, desperate, brutal, faithful, stubborn humanity, had a slightly better chance of survival in an uncaring universe. That was enough. In the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war. But sometimes, just sometimes, there is also hope, even if that hope wears an unfamiliar face and speaks in equations rather than prayers.